What's up, everybody? So today I'm going to show you guys how to create your own web page using HTML. Now I'm going to show you guys the most basic tags you need to know so you can have your own web page. So there's a bunch of different softwares you can use for HTML. If you go to Google, you can just type in HTML software. And you can use any of these. You can use Notepad, Sublime, Coffee Cup. So anyways, the one I like to use is Notepad++. So if you go to their webpage, click on download, then you can install Notepad++. So if you have a 32-bit operating system, then you want to download this one right here. If you have a 64-bit operating system, you want to download this one right here. And if you want to know what kind of operating system you have, you just go down here where your Windows icon is. You right-click, click on System, and then right here, System Type. I'll show you what kind of operating system you have. So I have a 64-bit. If you have a 64-bit, you want to download this one right here. So once you've downloaded and installed everything, you'll have your piece of software you can use to code in HTML. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a folder on our desktop, or you can create it anywhere, but it's the easiest to create on our desktop just so we can access it later. We can put maybe more web pages if we want. If we want to put a JavaScript file in there, we can do that. So you want to go to your desktop right here, right click, click on new, click on folder, and I'm going to call it my web page. Alright, so once we have it created, right, what we want to do is we want to open up our software. So we want to open up Notepad++, and I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up. So now I have it opened up. The first thing you want to do is you want to click on File, Save As, and then you want to go to your desktop and you want to save this file in the folder we just created. So we want to call this, we can call it anything you want. So once we are in that folder, we can call this file, we're just going to call it index, and then save as type is going to be hypertext markup language right here. So once you click on it, you'll see the extension on your file is .html, and that's what we want. So you want to click on save. Okay. So once you click on save, now we have that file. We can start coding in HTML. So the first thing you want to do is you want this web page to know that it's a HTML. So what you want to do is you want to create your tags, your HTML tags. So HTML, and then at the bottom, \HTML. So this is your opening and this is your closing tag. So your HTML, everything you do are going to be in between these tags. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a title. So for this title, how you do that is your tags are title, and then the name of your title. So you want to call it, so I'm just going to call it Sneaker Con. And then we want our closing tag for our title. So title, boom. So that's our title right there. So what we want to do is save it, and we can go to my web page folder. You can see, you can double click on it. I'm going to use Chrome. And you can see right here, there's our title, SneakerCon. So I mean, you can call it whatever you want. You know, so if I call this my web page, and then saved it, and then opened it up, you can see your title is right there. So anyways, I'm going to change it back to SneakerCon. Okay, so how HTML works is it reads from the top to the bottom, right? So I mean, I could just type in blah 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 blah. The thing is, it's all gonna show up on one line. So if I click on save, open it, you can see it's all on one line, right? But on here, I'm on two separate lines. Yeah, that's because it doesn't know that you have a line break. So to do that, you need a line break tag like that. And now they'll be on two separate lines. So if you click on file, save, boom, you can see it's on two separate lines. Anyways, we don't need that. That's just if you want to type in a paragraph or something, then you can use. We'll get into all that later. So for now, what I'm going to do is I want a heading, right? So I want my heading to be, so we're to do the heading. You want header, opening tag, and then you want a closing tag. Header. And then everything in between your opening tag and your closing tag is going to be your header. So I'm just going to call this H1. This is my web page. H1 closing tag. So what H1 does, it basically it makes it so it's a header. So you click on file, save, then you open it up. You can see this is my web page. You can see it's in all bold, and you can see the size it's quite big. So I want to change the size. I don't want it to be so big. So to do that, you can do H2 and make this a H2, and then you got to make sure your tags are correct. So that's H2 as well. File, save. You can see it got smaller. You can do H3 if you wanted it even smaller. You can go to H3, file, save. Now it's even smaller. So yep, so that's, it changes the size of your heading. So what I want to do is I want to center this, right? So if you want to do that, you would just have a center tag. So your center opening tag would just be center, and then your closing tag would be center. So now this is my web page. It'll show up on the center. So click file, save, open it up. You can see it's moved to the center now. So that's where I want it. So I'm just gonna... Okay, so now I'm gonna show you guys how to create how to create bullet points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few line breaks, just because I don't want it to be so whenever I do my stuff, I don't want it to be right underneath this is my web page. I want it to be a few lines below that. So I'm going to do a few line breaks. Okay, now what I want to do is want to make another I'm gonna show you guys how to do bullet points. So first I'm gonna just gonna call it sports, right? Just sports, but I want to make it bold. You can use a heading tag for this too if you want, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna make it bold just to show you guys how that tag works. So bold, closing tag, file, save, open, and you can see sports. So after sports, I want to have a line break. So I'm going to put a line break right there. You really don't need that space right there. So now I want to have bullet points, right? I want to be able to put, basketball, football, soccer, right? So to have a bulleted list, what you need to do is you need to have your tags first. So to do that, you want to have UL and then a closing tag, UL. So between these two tags, you can create a list, a bulleted list. So to do that, you want to do, okay, so first I want basketball. So I would do LI basketball, and then LI. So that's my first bullet point. And then my second bullet point is going to be LI football. LI. Whoops. Third, I'm going to make it soccer. All right, so, whoops. So this is the command to let it know, okay, you want to create a list, right? Your UL, and then, oh, whoops, I forgot to put the backslash UL. So everything in between these, they're going to be bullet points. And to do that, you just need the tag LI and then a closing tag. So if you want to just click File, Save, and do that. So you can see now I have sports, basketball, football, soccer. Okay, so I want a few more line breaks. BR. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to create a text box on your website or on your web page. So we can do that by using So we want a text box. We want to just a first name, right? First name and last name, and then we want a text box. So we can do that by just doing something like this. We can do, okay, first name, boom, and then we want a text box right next to it. So you can do that by typing input type equals text, so the user can actually enter values. But later we'll get into JavaScript, and I'll show you guys how to validate this information, how you can actually, if someone types in something, it can save that and perform another function, so if you want to calculate total cost, then person types in a number in the text box and then clicks on a button, then it'll show them a total cost of an item, after they've selected. Okay, I'll show you guys that in another. I'm just going to show you guys how to create a text box on your web page right now. So you want to do input type text, and then you want to name this text box. This is very important. This is very, very important. So whenever you have your JavaScript to validate this information, this is where you're going to be calling it from. So you want to name it, I'm just going to call it fname txt. Boom. So that's it. So you don't need any line breaks after this. At least I don't think. Let's see. Then we want to have another text box for last name. Input type equals text name. We want to call this, you can call it whatever you want, but I'm just going to call it L name txt. So now if we save it, we open it up, you can see we have first name and last name. But see, they're right next to each other. We don't want it to be like that. So what you can do is you can put a line break. So BR. You can put it right there, or you can put it up here. Doesn't matter. So now I'll show on two separate lines. So you can see, look, we have first name, last name. They can type in a value. Then if you have a submit button, you can click on it, and then you can perform some operation or function on the user's entered values. Again, we need JavaScript to do that, so we'll do that in a different tutorial. So anyways, I want to make this bold. So I'm gonna do that. Actually, no, I want to underline it. So we're gonna use the U tag for first name, U tag. Then we want to do the same thing here. Opening tag. So we just want to underline that, where it says first name. We just want to underline that part. And we want to underline where it says last name, just that part. So we want a closing tag, U, and now if you click File, Save, you can see they're both underlined now. So, and okay, now we want them bold too now. So you can put a bold tag, B underscore B. Again, you don't need these tags. I'm just trying to show you guys for tutorial purposes on how to use tags. So you can have it underlined and bold. File, save. See, now they're bold. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to create text boxes. So I want a few line breaks. So line break, line break, line break, line break. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to create a text box, or not a text box, a radio box, a checkbox, you know, a select. Sure, we'll do select. We'll do select next. So we want to have, okay, what's a good? Okay, so we want to have a method of payment, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to call it method of payment. And then we want to have a select. You know, the user should be able to select if they want cash or check, or, you know, however they want to pay. So we're going to call it, have an opening tag. It's going to be select. And we want to call this is very important right here. You want to name it something, so then you can call it later whenever you type in your JavaScript. So I'm just going to call it SEL payment. And then we want a closing tag. And then we want, you know, we want to close our select. So select, close. And then we want to type in our options here. So do that by option. Value. I'm just going to call this our value. Again, we're going to be calling this, so we want to call this what CC for credit card, and so credit card option. Okay, and then we want another option, which is option cash. So we're gonna do the same thing. Just gonna call this cash. Make everything lowercase, just so for your value names, just so it's easier to call it later if you need to, you know, create JavaScript code. So to that, we're gonna call this option cash. So these are, you can have as many as you want. Right now we have 2 options. So I'll show you guys how that the select works. So you can see right here, now they have method of payment, and if they click on this, they can pick credit card or cash. So again, I want to make this, you know, bold. So I'm gonna do, you don't have to, but I just want to make it look neat. So I have a bold tags. You can see now it's bold. So so what else? Let's do So let's do checkbox next. So let's do, let's call this, I want it bold, so let's call it pizza toppings. And now we want to have check boxes. So if the user can click on chicken, pepperoni, mushrooms, jalapenos, whatever you put. So we just want some check boxes. So then the user can select what all toppings they want on their pizza. So to do that, first we just make we want to just make a heading. We want to call it pizza toppings. Again, if you want, you can use you can make it normal font size, or if you want make this actual heading, you can make it H4. We can make this a big heading. So we can do that by we can call it H1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna make this a H4. I'm gonna make this a heading. And then we want to have check boxes. So you just call it pizza toppings. And then we're going to do input type equals check box. And then we want the name to be something we can call later once we have our JavaScript, and I'll show you guys in a different tutorial on how to actually use these text boxes, these select statements, and these check boxes, radio, all that, radio buttons, all that. So we're gonna call this we want a name for it. So we're gonna call this CHK pep for pepperoni. So we want it, so the name is gonna be called CHK. So we want the value, what it actually shows up as, to be pepper, right? Pepperoni, right? I think that's how you spell it. And then we want pepperoni. And then we want another one. I'm just going to copy it. And then just change the name and the values. So I want to call this one chicken. And then I want a third one. I want to call this beef. Beef. Okay, so put a few line breaks in there so it's not directly under our select statement. So these extra spaces, I mean, they're not going to show up on the screen here. You know, you need if you want extra spaces to show, like, then you need these line breaks. Otherwise, I'm just trying to make it easier to read. That's why, you know, I put these extra spaces, like this one and this one, all these three. I just put that in there just so I can, you know, show you guys the difference between the three. So let's click File, Save. Okay, you can see now we have our pizza toppings: pepperoni, chicken, beef. You know, the user can select this. Again, we're not going to be performing any function right now or nothing like that. We need, we can use JavaScript to do that. And we're not going to be doing any JavaScript in this tutorial. So I want it to be, I want to have them on separate lines again. You know, I don't want them pepperoni, chicken, and beef. So if you want to do that, you can just click on BR, and another line break, and then you don't need one here, but I'll put one anyways. So you can see once we do our line breaks, you can see now they're neatly organized: pepperoni, chicken, and beef. You can check them if you want, you know. So that's how you do checkboxes. So next, I'm gonna show you guys how to do radio boxes. So we can do that by you can just do, you know, size, right? So we can call it pizza size. Make this a heading too, so just make it H4 again. Pizza size H4. So what we want to do is call it input type equals radio. Just give me 1 second here. I want to make sure I have this right. So what we want to do is, so we want the user just to select one, right? So we want to make the name the same, but we want the values to be different. So we'll do name equals size, and then the value will be, do the value, we'll make it, small. Small. And then we want to have a line break. And then what we can do is, let's see. Make sure you name these the same. These have size and size, but the values, they're different though. So we want to call this medium. Then we want to have another line break, and then we want a third option, which is large. So we're going to call this one size, because we want the user just selecting one of them. So that's why we have them named all the same thing. But the values, they're different though, So we're going to call this large. And we're going to call this large. So right here where it says small, medium, large, right here, this is what will actually be displayed, whereas, right here where I have pepperoni, you can see this is right here, you can see this portion right here is just a checkbox. You're creating a name for that checkbox and you're creating a value. So you can, perform a function, or you can perform a calculation, or, whatever you're trying to do, you can, access, you can make it something. And then this part right here, pepperoni, that's just, it's just a label. So that's this part right here where it says pepperoni, if I spelled that correct. So now what we want to do is, I want a few more line breaks. I don't want the radio box, or I don't want my check boxes, so close to my radio buttons. I want a few line breaks in between them. So I'm going to put a few line breaks. The file, save. You can see now, look, we have pizza size, small, medium, or large. What happens if we name them different? If we name them different, then this will happen. The user can select all three of them. And, we don't want that, right? So we want to just call them the same thing. But we want their values to be different. We want, so now, small, medium, large. So, that's, let me see if there's anything else you guys should know. And again, this is just this is the very, very basic stuff. If you want to put a picture, show you guys how to do that real quick. So if you want to put a picture, first we'll need a picture. So I'm gonna go to Google. I'm gonna find a picture. So I'm just gonna put Steelers. So found a picture. So we'll take this picture. So what we want to do is we want to save image as, it can be JPEG or it can be PNG, whatever, it doesn't matter. So we want to save that in the same folder we created for our website. So you can see I've selected my web page folder. That's the folder we created at the very beginning. And I want to call this AB. So click save. You can see I've saved that picture. And then you can see that picture is in my folder. So we can, we can reference to this picture whenever we write our code. So now, since that picture is in my folder, I can, I want to put a few more line breaks. I don't want the picture showing directly underneath the pizza size. So I'm going to put a few line breaks. And now if we want to show our picture, all we need is the img tag. And then we want to src for the source equals, and then whatever our file name is. So in this case, it's AB. So what we need to do is we need to put AB, and then we need to have what type of file is. It's a JPEG file. So we got to put .jpg. And then we can adjust the height. We can make it, we'll just make it 300. And then we'll make the width equals 300, just so it's proportional. And then we want a closing tag. So img. I don't know if I click save it, go back to my folder, and open it up. You can see we have a picture right here. So again, it's not really proportional. So maybe if I make the width 500, look a little bit better. So save, and then we can go to our desktop, click on my web pages, click on index. That's a lot better. So you can see now we have a picture there. And so that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you guys today. This is how you create, just the most basic web page. Actually, one more thing. I'll show you guys how to add a link. So if you want to have a link to your web page, like I'm going to put this at the top just because it's a little bit easier. So I'll put it above the header, actually. You can put it wherever you want, but I'm going to put it at the top. So if you want to link to another web page, you can do ahref no, oops. You can't have a space there. href equals, so I want the web page, I want it to go to espn.com. whenever they click on this link. So www.espn.com, and then I want to call this, call it whatever you want. You can do, go to ESPN's website, and then you gotta have a closing tag. Gotta make sure. So just like that. So now let me click save. Let's open up our web page. You can see, look, we have a link now. It's at the very top because that's what I put it, and you can see it says go to ESPN's website. And if you click on it, oh, we made an error somewhere. Hold on. Oh yeah. See, we forgot the HTTPS // So we forgot this part right here. You need that. That's a very, very important. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy it because I'm too lazy to type it. So now it'll work. So we want to put that at the very beginning, so that lets the document knows that you want to go to a website. Otherwise, what it's trying to do is it's just trying to find a file in your folder that's called www.espn.com, and there's no file in my folder named that. So if you want it to actually link to a web page, you need that HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. That's what it's called, So you can see now it has HTTP. Now it'll work. So if I just click save. Oh, whoops. Go to ESPN's website. Boom, you can see it takes us to ESPN's website. So that's all I have for you guys today. That's all I have for you guys today. Maybe in a different tutorial I'll show you guys how to use JavaScript. But this is just the very, very basic stuff in HTML. Thank you.